Órale! Bienvenidos and welcome to the Familia FFB podcast. This is your host, Jorge Martin. Jorge, Georgie Martin. Primos are coming. We got one of the Primos coming in. Ricky's coming in. He's getting set up right now. So I thought I'd start so that we get our folks on set up and get you guys in the audience in the chat. I see Alberto's in the house. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos. Now you've been listening. So this could be a little bit of repeat session for you. But you know what? You can always pick up a little bit of information on here now that we are in redraft season. Davis Pang's Pigs. Buenos dias. Dude, I saw that tweet you had earlier today about, if you're a little bit overweight on a certain player. So, yeah, I think it was like 30 some percent of your rosters had that guy. So that's me with Damian Pierce and Saquon Barkley. So just got those guys all over town. If they break, dinero. So familia, oh my goodness. I know we're going to be getting some other people joining in the chat. I want to make sure to give a big shout out to our amigos over at Fantasy Points. I'm telling you, you know what? When fantasypoints.com has some of the best content out there, I mean, those folks, we got plenty of amigos in the from the show who've come on here, more come, and it's just been wonderful to kind of learn from them and have them be have us be a part of the Fantasy Points familia. It's just it's so good to be a part of them. I mean, we had John Hansen on recently, Joe Dolan, Jose, and also Graham Barfield. I was texting him a little bit last night at the Dodger game, so he's a big baseball fan. So hey, you know what? The great content. You also got Scott Barrett. You got you got Tom Brawley, you got Wes Huber, some of the great fantasy minds out there. You also got the content from Greg Cosell and Familia. I have used so much of that, of his rookie scouting, his NFL draft rookie scouting profiles. Oh my goodness, so much to learn about. Romeo Dobbs, as I understood, he's been a star of training camp. He's a guy that's coming out that gets a lot of love in that one, in that guy. So familia, make sure you like and subscribe when you go in. Go put Familia 22, or in Spanish Familia 22, get 10% off. Help you get ready for your drafts, because it's coming, familia. It is coming. Drafts are going to be here the drafts are already happening. So much of the drafts are happening at the end of the month. I've actually got one draft that's happening on September the 7th. And we in our Familia League, we do them Labor Day weekend. We're just all, it's waiting. So this is a time to learn. And this is a time to pick up. And if you've been away from football for a while and you're coming back because it's August and you start getting that itch for fantasy football, we're here for you. This show is dedicated to you, familia. And first off, we're gonna get into we'll get into Ricky when he gets in here, but we got a little bit of cheese to go through right now. Melvin Gordon didn't practice today. Today being Wednesday, August 10th, and familia, it was with the foot. So feet are always a little bit worrisome when it comes to the running backs. So you want to look at that guy and just kind of keep an eye on him and see if he is missing any time, more than a couple of days here and there. So it was the first day. J Wall, love the graphic. So thank you so much. We'll be talking about him in a while. So familia, but getting back to Melvin Gordon, he is still a very important part of that offense. Troy Rink of Denver 7. You go back to that interview, familia, because Troy was phenomenal. Troy kept bringing up that it could be a 60-40 split. Javonte Williams in the 60. So familia, that's still going to be a pretty sizable chunk for both guys. So you're talking about Melvin Gordon getting somewhere between 175 to 200 carries, it's somewhere thereabouts, and you got Javonte Williams with maybe like 190. Well, last year he had just over 200, so maybe 200, 225. that's going to be very important. Oh, we got a primo in the house, Marco Antonio Torres. Marco, happy, my primo, he had his birthday last week, so bienvenidos, baby. Love you to bits. Love you to bits. We got another primo coming on soon. So familia, yeah, Melvin Gordon, keep an eye on this situation. Yeah, just make sure that he is not out for any period of time, because honestly, if he is out if he's hurt and it's something serious, or he's going to be missing time, Javonte Williams is a huge get, and he could just, I mean, he's a guy that could run away with that position and become the RB1 overall. I mean, a lot of people last year, there were still some question marks about Jonathan Taylor before the season. Is he going to be the true number one? Is he going to take it over? And then what happened after like 2 weeks? It was he took it over, and then he was RB1. So keep an eye on this RB situation. So we're going to go back into that one. Devonte Smith, he's missed 5 practices in a row, which is very concerning. It's a groin soft tissue injury, something that you want to get right. Guys want to get right. Anybody who's got an injury like that, you want to get that taken care of, and before you go into any kind of football activities. So I mean, yeah. You look at him, and he's a guy that is going to be a very important part of that offense. They want to make sure that he's fine, but you look at groin injuries, and they're concerning, very, very concerning. So because they can linger and they can stick around if they don't get taking care of the rest. So make sure that he is, that he's missing time, that he's not missing too much time before you draft him in best ball leagues or in your redraft leagues, anything like that. Or maybe if you got a late dynasty startup coming on. So Devonte Smith, it's not quite DEFCON 5. We weren't expecting to see him hardly play at all during preseason, if at all, because a lot of times starters are not playing during the preseason. So looking at him, you just want to make sure that he's right. Just keep an eye on the camp reports. And this is something we're going to talk about in a second. The last one, Christian Watson, he's still sidelined at Packers camp. So this is an important thing for any rookies that are going into the NFL for the first time. NFL training camp, OTAs, mini camp before training camp, those are huge for them. They have to be a part. They get to actually walk before they run. Not everybody's going to be Randy Moss or Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, who are going to come out and break out right away. A lot of times these wide receivers take a little time, but they still need those reps in training camp, and he needs reps with Aaron Rodgers. He needs to build that trust factor. You got to make sure that before you draft him, that he is someone that's coming on, that's going to be back. I am not drafting him anywhere right now. So I'm doing a lot of best ball drafts right now. I got a lot of slow drafts going on. I'm in Polly's playoff right now. Shane Barrett, FF Shane B, giving you a shout out right there. You want to make sure that he's 100% and he's practicing, so he gets those live reps, because once the season comes around, maybe Aaron Rodgers is taking like a maintenance day on Wednesday and he's not practicing him as much during the season. So, it actually delays the breakout so much. So be very, very careful before you're picking up on Christian Watson. So, and anybody out there who's looking for any kind of opinions on Deshaun Watson, we're not doing that right now. I'm just going to react to whatever the ruling is on the appeal that's going on. So we'll react to that. I'm going to be talking with someone who covers the Browns next week, so that hopefully there's some clarity to the situation. That's going to be number 32 of our NFL Insider Series. So I'm very proud of that. It's almost 2 months in the making since the first episode. The views have been great. If you've missed any of them, we'll talk about it in a second. But go check out that NFL Insider Series. I've created a playlist, and it's going to be good. It's not going to be good. It is really, really good. So much of that information. I've been listening back to all of them, and just fountains and fountains of information, things that I kind of picked up so much. So, you know what? I'm still waiting on Ricky a little bit, but we're going to get started a little bit with the questions. Or actually, if anybody in the chat right now Albert, anybody? I know I don't know if Dame Overboard or Mr. Scampers are joining us today, but if you are, you got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll answer them as we go along. But we're going to start with the 10 lessons. And you know what? When I was talking with the Primos the other day, and they're like, yeah, I've really not paid a lot of attention to fantasy football. It made just a little bit on the headlines here and there. And so I thought, maybe this would be a good kind of episode to do a kind of a primer a little bit, maybe catch up on a lot of news and information, and maybe just some trends that we need to look at going forward for the season. So, we're just kind of, because we're here. It's, here we are. The season's going to start 2 months from this past Monday. So, I mean, not 2 months, 1 month from this past Monday. So, I mean, on September the 8th, Rams and the Bills at SoFi Stadium. It's going to be incredible. I'm actually going to be at the game, so going with a couple of friends. But there are things that you got to keep in mind when going in there. And I think one of the big ones, and you saw it on the thumbnail that Amigo J Wall, our compadre, I put together. You just want to look at you want to grab a running back early, young running backs. So don't get the aging ones. One of the things that I was looking at of the top 10 rushing leaders in 2021, there were all but one of them were age 26 or younger. And a lot of times, Edwin Porras was talking about the fact that for running backs, a lot of times that peak age is age 26. Derrick Henry was the outlier, but he did miss 9 games. Those were incredible 8 games that he had early part of the season. But yeah, it's just something that it doesn't happen too often. And so you're not going to get like the top 10 running backs. Maybe you're going to get some production, but when you want your stud, if you're going to robust RB, you're going hero RB, you want a young stud. They're healthier. They're not as likely they haven't taken as many hits, especially if you get a receiving back, you're going to be able to take care. You're going to be able to do well in your drafts. And one of the when you look back at the running backs who have been the RB1 overall, the guys that have been the RB1 overall have been in their first 3 years in the NFL. Jonathan Taylor last year, Christian McCaffrey in 2019, Saquon Barkley in 2018. All of them fit that mold. You've got Alvin Kamara. He has one exception. He had that incredible game where he scored 5 or 6 touchdowns on Christmas Day, which destroyed me in a fantasy championship. So I still cry about that one. But Familia, yeah, what is the thing that Alvin Kamara does that not a lot of running backs do? No, at least not a lot of the elite, that a select number of the elite running backs do. He catches the ball. He's a threat out of the backfield to catch the balls. You got Austin Eckler, Primo Ricky's guy, Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette, playoff Lenny. He caught 74 targets last year. He got 74 receptions. So I'm telling you, if you're going to be getting a player who's a little bit older, make sure you're getting one with some pass catching chops. You got Ezekiel Elliott. He wasn't great last year. He's in that running back dead zone that we're going to talk about in a minute. But man, I mean, you just want to make sure you're not getting you're getting a guy who is making plays out of the backfield, getting those screens and taking off. Matt Harmon recently pointed something out that was very simplistically. The running backs who are catching passes are getting hit by smaller players. They're getting hit by DBs. They're getting hit by safeties. They're not getting hit by the defensive tackles. They're not getting hit by Aaron Donald. They're not getting hit by those guys. So those train wrecks with the DBs are a lot smaller. They're getting a lot more, leg tackles. Maybe they're getting pushed out of bounds, not taking as many hits. So, so those guys age better. But otherwise, you're drafting your running backs, the young ones. Now, one of the ones, and I did an episode on this with Dr. Emma Porras earlier this season. Probably it was 4 or 5 months ago. I believe it was March that we sat down. I wanted to talk about the players who were coming off the late season ACL injuries, and I'm going to drop that. I'm going to drop that show. I'm going to put that as something to kind of keep an eye on at the end of the show. You look at the guys who are coming back, a lot of them, from Robert Woods all the way to Odell Beckham Jr., all those guys were hurt. Oh my goodness. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Primo Ricky's in the house. Dale, baby, orale. How are you?
Very, very excited to be here today.
Oh man, so good to see you, baby. It's so good to see you, baby. Can you put yourself a little bit to the side? You know, move your move it to the side.
Hey, why does it look like my face is
Yeah,
all?
well, you look like the Phantom of the Opera a little bit. There you go, baby. There you go. Love it.
Find the script just so I can be on topic here.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the I already went through the Cheesemate part. So we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait till another episode to yell out Cheesemate. But what kind of like the lessons that I've been picking up a little bit over this off season, having so many guests on the Familia FFB podcast. By the way, everybody, make sure you're liking and subscribing. Make sure you're liking and subscribing. We're up over 100 subscribers now on YouTube, so it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. You guys keep coming back, so happy for that. But yeah, one of the big things, Ricky, and I was just finishing up talking about it, draft a young running back. So if you're doing a bell cow, elite caballo, as we like to call them, you want to grab the guys in their first 3 years. I think you're pretty good at doing that. What do you think about getting those guys? Because I mean, well, before you answer, the guys in their first 3 years in the NFL: Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey in 2019, Jonathan Taylor last year, Christian McCaffrey 2019, Saquon Barkley in 2018. They were all RB1, and they were all in their first 3 years in the NFL. So, getting that young guy. I mean, just starting to get back into it. Any guys that you're targeting in that young range?
I used to think there was a rhythm to all this madness, but there isn't. Because then you still got McCaffrey getting injured right away. Look at Saquon Barkley getting injured within his first 3 years. So you got a lot of different things to look at. It's just like JT, if he would have gotten injured, he would have been a big bust. But then you have Harris. Harris is probably the only one who I'm really like, okay, he's not being drafted too high, too low. He's perfect, and there's super high upside for him. But even with JT, I hate running backs nowadays because, you know what, when they're young, they let them be bell cows. And then as they get older, they start using, that second running back a little more often. Just look at Derrick Henry. He's being used less often. Zeke's being used less often. So it's like, yeah, you gotta stick with the young ones, the ones you're not too sure about. But then it begs the question, is Joe Mixon still young? Is he... I mean, I don't know. To me,
he's 25. He's 25.
So, like, what? 4 years? 3 years? Is it?
I think this is his 5th year. Yeah, he's one of those guys. The peak age for running backs has become like 26. So that's apparently when they start going, start trending down afterward, right, with all the hits, except for the guys who are catching passes, like Alvin Kamara, like your guy Austin Eckler.
But is anything going to happen with Kamara beating that guy up at the bar? Is anything going to happen from that?
Nothing's happened. They were supposed to have a John Hendricks was from All Saints, from Saints News, and pointed out that this case could actually get pushed to after the season. And
good for Kamara, because I think he's only got about 1 season left in him.
Might be. I mean, well, he does catch a lot of passes, and he does. Those guys don't get a lot of hits. I mean, Eckler, coming off of that phenomenal All-Pro season, I mean, he was just nothing short of spectacular. But he caught like 75 balls last year, so you want to make sure that that if you're getting an older running back, that it's a guy who's catching passes. So
if you're gonna get a running back at all, make sure he's the one catching passes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where they get a majority, because otherwise they're going to be the ones that go down with shoulder injuries, thigh injuries, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, Dalvin Cook, that kind of thing. So, you want to make sure, because that's the thing. They take so many hits. And
my buddy made so many trades last season early. he was able to have Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey on the same team, which is great on paper. But I mean, last year, what did they do together? They didn't even have a full season between the two.
Nope. Did not. Yeah, and I mean McCaffrey. The one thing with CMC, he's still going off at the number. A lot of drafts, he's still going off as the number 2 overall pick. Because people are still
number 1, right?
JT's is a clear number 1. JT's the clear number 1. But we're going to talk about one guy who's coming up as number 2, but it's going to be one of the questions. But the other one, and I know this is something that you might find spicy, but stay away be very careful. Muy cuidado against players coming back from serious injuries. So, it's letting the guy come back from the ACL tears. And that's that, I did that episode a few months back with Dr. Edwin Porras, where we talked about like the best time frame for coming back from ACL tears, and he talked about the fact that he would not recommend, and nobody signs off on a guy coming back less than 9 months after an injury, and a lot of these.
Specifically, are you speaking of to avoid?
Well, one guy is Chris Godwin. Because you're not getting an injury discount on him. He's still going off at the number 54 overall player, not just wide receiver. He's the number 54 player. And you got Amari Cooper, who, as crazy as the situation is in Cleveland, he's going 3 picks later. I'm going to take my chances with 17 games from Amari Cooper than Chris Godwin. Another guy, Michael Gallup, and both of them got hurt like in week 16 or 17. So they're talking like for them it's like October, November. That's when you're in your 9 to 10 month range, coming back from that. Michael Gallup, he's going off as the pick number 139. And, I'll take my chances with Marquez Valdes-Scantling in that range and catching passes from Patrick Mahomes. Give me that.
Yeah,
give me that. So that's the thing. I want to make sure, that we're getting, when a guy's coming back from serious injury, that if we're taking him, it is at a discount.
You say but you might start seeing them fall, then you're like, it's kind of a discount now. So,
oh yeah, definitely a discount.
One falls in the 5th round. Would you pick him up in the 5th round late?
5th round, I don't think I would. Because in that range. So I'm looking at the 5th round right now. You still got, let's see, Chris Godwin. I'll take Darnell Mooney over him. I'll take Brandon Cooks. I'll take Cortland Sutton instead of him. I mean, these are all guys that I'll even take. Huh? These are all players going after Godwin in drafts. Because Godwin's going to miss Godwin is probably going to miss a month of the season. And then
you'd rather have on your team when he's healthy.
But the thing is, how healthy is he going to be? Is he going to be 85%? Because a lot of times it takes for that ACL tear to be fully healed. It's a year. And for him to be a year out from his surgery, it's like Christmas when he's going to be out, when he's going to be a year out. So maybe a guy's going to be Adrian Peterson, but I don't want to count on that. Not in the draft. I maybe want to trade for him if I'm not going to, if I can take advantage of somebody. So that's one thing that I might want to do. So, but that's trade for him a month, 3-4 weeks into the season. So, so that's the big thing. I want to get a big discount. I'm still going to take, I don't want to go into the season if I'm drafting, but before I have my starting lineup set up, I do not want to draft any guys who I know are going to miss time. I want to be as close to getting 17 games from everybody on the team. So that's just me, baby. What do you think?
Injury prone.
What?
Thought you didn't believe in injury prone.
Well, that's not injury prone. That's injury. I believe, but I believe in injury recovery, and the body needs to
You
heal at its
changed,
own
man.
race.
You used to believe in the discount.
I believe in if I'm gonna get the discount, I want that discount after I've filled out my starting lineup. I want to get as many studs that I have a good chance to play 17 games. So that's it. That's it, Primo. You can call me on it. You can call me on it. After we've had a couple of drinks at Vic's house, so we'll get for the draft, we'll make sure to get it taken care of. So we'll you can remind me. You can remind me if I pick somebody. One guy that I like, who I think we're getting an injury discount on, is Michael Thomas. So he's going like in the 6th round right now, and all the reports are that he's healthy, that he's not missing any practice time or anything like that. He's a part of this offense. So I'll take the chance on him coming in at the later on in the draft. So I'll take my chances there. So another thing
Michael Thomas than Godwin.
Yes, easily, because I don't trust that Godwin's going to be. I think Godwin won't be fully healthy, or getting a full target share probably before half the season. Just looking at timelines, just looking at injury. I mean, I know he's running now, but I think there's a certain amount of going from running on air to actually fighting with DBs and to having confidence in that knee. So I think that's going to take some time. So we're gonna see. But that's one guy that I'll take all those guys in the range over Godwin just to get the chance at 17 games. Yeah. So another thing, wide receiver situation, Green Bay and Kansas City, it's going to be a headache. They got tons of targets that are opening up.
But why Green Bay?
No Devonte Adams, and who's gonna? It's like no one's gonna take over the lead Caballo wide receiver role. It could be you've got Alan Lazard,
but it sounds like you mean the other way, like Kansas City is going to be a headache for defenses, because I felt like you liked MVS. You spoke of him earlier.
I like the discount that we're getting on him. I think but I don't think he's going to be 160 targets like Tyreek Hill. I think the only guy who's going to be a target monster on this team is going to be Travis Kelce. I think you take him all day. I think we're going to take him as like a wide receiver in our Familia draft.
What about Juju?
Juju, he's nursing a knee injury. He's been having
he's been having that forever. He would have played last season.
That's why.
So he should be better by now. I don't think he's nursing anything.
We're going to see. I mean, the thing is, the guys to keep an eye on. MVS, he's going like Sky Moore, the rookie, has been getting good reports in training camp. So he's a guy that I want to grab in the draft. I think he's going. Where is he going? He's going somewhere in like the 9th or 10th round. Let me look at where he's at. Let's see. Yeah, he's going like an overall pick number 137. So that's like in the 11th, 12th round. I'll take a chance on a rookie at that point and just sit on him.
But yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of guys where it's going to be. I think it's going to the thing that I worry about, other than Travis Kelce, it could be a different guy who's coming up, and it's going to be a headache. That's what's going to be a headache about it, is trying to predict who's going to be the guy until like we've seen about 4 games and we get an idea who's coming out there. I still think they're going to be explosive because Patrick Mahomes is one of the studs. He's one bad hombre.
And you got to be wary of this offense as far as, like you said, someone might go off one week that's not going to go off the next. I'm not sure if you guys remember when Sammy Watkins went off for like 2 straight to start the season and then didn't do jack crap after that. Nothing. Like literally a crap load of zeros. So I love Juju, though. I would love to put my money in on Juju, but not the other guys.
The thing with Juju, he's going earliest of all the receivers. And
Because of
let me
what
see.
he's done. He's got a high ceiling.
That's the thing. He's going at pick number 77. So that's like the 6th, 7th round when you're still, but he's going in the range with Hunter Renfrow and Jerry Judy and Devonte Smith, who I just mentioned is battling a groin, and Tyler Lockett. I mean, do you want Juju? Do you want to pay for Juju's great season 4 years ago in 2018 with Pittsburgh? Or do you want to grab like Judy with Russell Wilson
I
or
would
Hunter
go
Renfrow?
of all those that get Judy. I don't care for Renfro.
I'm kind of, what the thing, I think Renfro is going to be sneaky. I don't think he's going to catch 100 balls, but I think he's going to catch like 85 to 90 and still be pretty good.
I think it's great that he has a distraction now because last year he didn't have a Devonte Adams, obviously. But now it's like, we'll see. I hate to do anything for the Raiders, even for them.
Let's see. Oh my goodness. So we got Ping's picks. Yep. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, he owes you. I hope you've picked him this year in all your best ball drafts. Davis Pang, he's a big time best ball player. So DeAndre Hopkins or Godwin. Ooh,
Hopkins.
That one's interesting.
Hopkins, because at least Hopkins, it's not like he's coming off an injury.
Well, he did have surgery last year. I mean, everything pointed that he had a healthy off season. But his surgery was much earlier than Godwin's. But I mean, the thing is, Godwin. I might pick Godwin there. I might pick Godwin just because I think he'll be back earlier than Hopkins. So I think it's just a matter of being earlier, and you're getting passes from the goal.
Hopkins going into the playoffs though.
Ooh, that would be intriguing. That would be intriguing.
Godwin, you never know if they're gonna do it slow for him because they know they're gonna make the playoffs because their division's weak. So yeah. I would rather have Hopkins. I think his ceiling's way higher than Godwin's.
I think it could be interesting. And the thing that I also really like, and I put this out on Twitter the other day, the Cardinals after week 6, they play one game that's potentially a weather issue, and that's week 15 in Denver. Everything else is either in California or in a dome. So so it's kind of like I think once they get Hopkins back and Jess Root from USA Today, when he came on with me, he pointed out that he thinks Hopkins is going to be ready to really break out when he gets out there. It might be slow the first game, but by the second game it's going to be on.
I think he's got a chip on his shoulder from last year. So
Could be.
Got a lot to prove this year.
So the next one, we've talked about La Llorona and comparing it to the running back dead zone. So, I mean, do you want Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson, or Josh Jacobs? Maybe you get 1,000 yards from him. Maybe you get 750 to 800. And yeah, these guys are going in that round 3 to 5 range, and that's where Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs got picked. Cooper Kupp last year and Stephon Diggs in 2020 when they had just amazing seasons. It's La Llorona. It's scary. It's the lady in white. These are the guys who are going. These are the wide receivers that are going in that range. Michael Pittman, Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams, your boy, your main hombre, Scary Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf. All of these guys. Who would you rather? Would you rather have any of these guys over the running backs that I mentioned at the beginning?
Kind of want all that. Pittman's got a good setup to excel. Mike Williams has a great setup to excel. Scary Terry, who knows? Dang. DK, how do you skip on DK besides the fact that he doesn't have a QB? It's a little scary because I like all those wide receivers. And I always say go running back, but it's like you never know with these running backs anymore. Like, people who won last year had really good wide receivers, so I'm kind of just like wide receivers all the way, man. So I would go Mike Williams. Michael Pittman, I think, is a great little play because he can explode. If he explodes, he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver. So Are you going
Yeah,
to get top 5 running back out of Akers, Gibson, Jacobs? How many points does your league give compared, wide receivers to running backs as far as PPR? I would just look at the value because our league values running backs really high. So
yeah.
you need to have really good running backs, and it's like, and yeah, so I would probably in our league I'd go Cam Akers, but in like a PPR I'd go Mike Williams, Scary Terry, Pittman. Pittman just way more than Akers in like a PPR.
Look, we got Primo Brian in the house. Hola, Brian. And yes, we're gonna be talking about this guy in a few minutes. So, Brian, we're definitely gonna talk about this one. So salud, familia. Thank you so much for chiming in with the chat. So and that's the thing. It's going. I'm really starting to become very much a hero RB guy. And it's just getting a guy, with preferably picking him in the front half of the first round, because they start to get a little dicey after the front half of the first round, and then I just want to hammer receivers, and ADP is starting to catch up. You've got in the first round, there it was, let me see, it was, it was 10 of 24, 10 of the first 24 picks were non-quarterbacks. Non-running backs. So it's getting that stud running back, and then just grab the stud receivers, and maybe even grab a Josh Allen or Justin Herbert.
It sounds like you need to grab a stud running back right away because there's going to be stud wide receivers in the 4th, the 5th. So it's like, hurry up, snatch up them running backs, snatch up Eckler, snatch up, yeah. So.
And you know what? And that's the thing. It's grabbing one of those guys, and then I ignore the running back position. And I've been grabbing, like in best ball drafts, I've been grabbing AJ Dillon like in the 6th or 7th round, and that's a guy who got over 1,000 combined yards last year, and he's just a hammer at the goal line. So I love him this season. So to grab him later in the draft is just and if I've got really good receivers at that point, give it to me all day. Give it to me all day. So I want to know what you think of the year 2 quarterbacks. Fabio Football, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. You got all these, you got some Konami code guys. Mac Jones had some good early love. It's been a little, a little bit wonky recently. Those guys. How are you feeling on taking a chance on those guys, thinking you may get Patrick Mahomes or Lamar in 2018, or Lamar Jackson in 2019, guys that exploded?
I didn't see any spice of that last season, except maybe, I love Justin Fields, but he doesn't look like he's going to have a very good season the way his team's shaping up. They're not building a pathway of success for him, but he looks great physically. But other than that, when you look at Mac Jones, they're willing to do a game where he doesn't throw a single pass. So I'd rather avoid that. Trey Lance, you have no idea what you're getting there, whether he's even going to play. I have no idea what that situation is going to be. So I don't know. Who's the other one? Is it Zach Wilson also?
Zach Wilson's another one.
He's on the Jets, so that's stupid. Don't do that. I'd
some
rather
decent reports coming out of there.
Get the year 3 quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts. That's someone who I would rather invest in, who's going to be like going right above these guys. That's what I'd way rather have.
So the two that are intriguing me a little bit is Trey Lance and Fields. Fields worries me a little because he's got a bad line, and so that one's kind of a little worried.
Either.
Yeah, they got a lot of guys. They didn't have draft picks, any early round first round draft picks, so they couldn't go and get someone like, get a stud. So they got guys later in the draft and some guys in free agency. So, but it's all patchwork, and they don't have a lot of weapons, and guys are getting hurt all over the place. So I think Darnell Mooney could have a big season, but it's just tough to look at. It's going to be tough. I kind of want, you mentioned the year 3. I want Justin Fields next year, where I hope they've like added another wide receiver and maybe added more guys in the offensive line. So that's what I want to see. And I want to see Trevor Lawrence next year too.
What about Trevor Lawrence? I mean, I feel like he's in position to succeed. However, I mean, it's the Jags. They look like a good team sometimes on paper, especially with their defense being locked down sometimes. But do you think Trevor Lawrence showed glimpses of this golden child that he's going to be, or that people claim him to be?
He showed a little bit. But it was mostly ugly. It was mostly muy feo. I John Shipley from Sports Illustrated. What he told me he saw in mini camp and training camp, and what he's been keeping an eye on, what he's been reporting is there's been vast improvement. But is he going to take a big leap forward? I wouldn't mind taking Trevor Lawrence, and I've done this where I've taken him as my second quarterback in a super flex league or as my backup, just in case. Those are the three guys that I'm grabbing a lot is Fields, Lawrence, and Lance. Just in case.
You're wishing, man. You're wishing.
Well, taking them as a backup. If I've got Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford as my number one, and then all of a sudden I grab these guys. If for some reason
you have any of these guys or Kirk Cousins?
Oh, I think I'd still want Cousins. Fields intrigues me a little bit because of the fact that he's got the great rushing ability. Even in 10 games last year, he rushed for 420 yards. Mm-hmm. That to me is huge. That if you in 17 games, that could be 600, 700. That's like what Josh Allen ran for last year. So he's a guy that I think he's going to have to do a lot because their defense isn't very good, and they're going to lose some. They're going to be in some shootouts, and he's going to have to try and dig them out of holes. So, hi, Dios mío, you okay over there?
I'm good.
So I've hinted about this, the NFL Insider series that we have, check it out. They're all archived on our YouTube. They're all archived on a Spotify or Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Familia, it's all there. So much gold is in there. I turned everything over to the writers, broadcasters, podcasters, just to get their insight. So that's good. So another one. Oh, here's one. Lesson number 8. Stay patient with young wide receivers, rookie wide receivers. So, because if you drafted and held on to Amon-Ra St. Brown last year, you got rewarded.
You had to wait all friggin' year for that.
Yeah,
all year.
And I had him in a league. I had him in another league where I picked him, dropped him week 1 because I had to pick up a defense. And then watched a guy pick him up and play him against me the week he broke out. So, but yeah, that's the thing. Stay patient with them or pick them up, kind of like midway through, because that's when they come up. T. Higgins did that in 2020. A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf did it in 2019. Try not to drop them. Hell, remember, Justin Jefferson got dropped in our league in 2020, and then he got picked up in week 3, right before week 3, and then he just exploded, and it was all over from that. So we'll see. All right, so another one. Yeah, Familia, get as much training camp info as possible. Twitter alerts, read the NFL.com team pages, get a subscription to The Athletic, go through all the team information. You're reading up as much player information as Fantasy Points, NBCSports.com Edge, Fantasy Pros. You want to get as much information as possible. So, you want to get all that training camp information, because then you find out, then you find out little nuggets, like about Romeo Doubs with Green Bay or those guys. So, one of the questions, Peng, yep, Alvin Kamara was a waiver wire guy. But did you get him that year, his rookie year, Ricky?
No, sounds like something that would happen to Hector.
I think that might have been. I think he did grab him up at that point. But yeah, just get all that training camp info, because then you're not just going off of old rankings. You're reacting to guys who are doing well, and maybe you're taking some chances on guys. Another one. Number 10, be ready to take Cooper Kupp 102. Brian, if you're still in the chat, yes. If you're ready, Cooper Kupp. The wide receivers are just going so much earlier. And I talked about this earlier. 10 of the first 24 picks on wide receivers are, in ADP are running backs, are non-running backs. So, those wide receivers are coming up, and, the industry is adjusting. So we got to adjust along with it. Are you willing to force 2 running backs if in the second round you're grabbing somebody who's, and you're looking over and it's like there's like a Stephon Diggs or someone there that is really tempting?
Yeah, but Stephon Diggs, what did he do last year? So that's a little scary to put all your eggs in his basket. But yeah, I mean, looking at running backs, if I'm not sold on them, if I'm not in love with them, I'm going to go with the wide receiver who's performed. That's what I'm going to go with this year, only because I've been hurt too much, man. Been hurt way too much on running backs, and I think there's only 5 or 6 that I'll absolutely pick over everyone else. Otherwise, I'm going with production. I'm just going to mimic everything from last year.
Exactly. By the way, you asked what did Stephon Diggs do last year? He still got 103 receptions and 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. So I'll take that.
That's like half a touchdown a game.
Almost. A little more than half a touchdown. So, and those guys. And one of the things that I looked at, Devonte Adams was the wide receiver 1 in 2020. If you took 32 catches and almost 600 yards off of Cooper Kupp's stats last year, he matches the same numbers for Devonte Adams in the wide receiver 1
game. There's also an extra game.
An extra game, but still, Cooper Kupp had just a ton of volume. That just shows how much he gets to come back to the.
So what's the soonest you see him off the board?
2. I've seen him on. I think I may have seen him go 101 in a best ball draft. I know I've seen him go off multiple times at 102. So he's going. And the thing with him, I don't know if he pays off, but I don't know if he pays off as the 102, but he could still explode. The other thing, the other guys that are going way early, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Those guys, and Devonte Adams is going toward the tail end of the first round. So those, and Travis Kelce is going at the end of the first round, early second round. Those guys are, it's hard to pass up on those guys, baby. Hard to Primo. We gotta get that one. But the one thing with Cooper Kupp, it's hard for me if I'm at the 102 to grab him over taking a chance on McCaffrey. Just because I know elite running backs are going to be scarce. Just on the off chance that McCaffrey is healthy and he has a year like Austin Eckler, who had the hamstring issues in 2020.
What pick are you in the family draft?
5.
So McCaffrey or Kupp both come to you. Who do you take?
I'm going to go McCaffrey. I'm going to take the chance. I want to lock down. I want to lock down a running back because I don't know who's going to be there in the second round, and I want to have a running back at my first 2 picks, and then I'm just going to hammer receiver, just hammer it. Unless I'll tell you one thing, guys that I'm liking in the second round that are going latter part of the second round. Saquon Barkley. I know you mentioned, but the reports are he's looking really good in training camp. He's looking fit. He's 100% over the ACL injury. So last year was an ankle. It's like guys tweak ankles all the time. It's not like you could call him injury prone for that. So, who would you do? Who? Now you know my strategy. Where are you picking? I forget
7.
where you're picking.
I think 7.
So now you know who I'm going to leave for you.
I'd do McCaffrey only because I'm a McCaffrey fan, and I'm a Charger fan. Why would I pick Cooper Kupp? but it's hard to skip on Cooper Kupp
So,
but you know what? I did get screwed over once by picking the year before's reception leader, and that was Michael Thomas 2 years ago when all of a sudden he played for the whole season.
Yep.
So
that one
that's
eso
what
duele.
scares me.
Eso
So
duele.
I gotta see who's on the cover of Madden first.
I think it might be Jonathan Taylor. It might just be. I'll give you. So I'll throw one out to you: Austin Eckler or Cooper Kupp.
Eckler. He just gets the ball on both sides a lot, and he gets a lot of touchdowns. So, and you want a dominant running back? That's a dominant running back right there.
He's going to get him. I mean, he's not going to get 20 touchdowns. You can't expect 20 touchdowns, but you definitely want to look at him as a good possibility too.
I see 20 touchdowns from Eckler. You're crazy.
You see it again?
Yeah.
So I actually think Isaiah Spiller. I think Isaiah Spiller is going to eat into some of those touchdowns. I think Eckler is going to have the yardage that he had.
Eckler's going to dominate time for that team. Trust me. He did last year. He's going to do it again this year. The other guys just couldn't produce, but Eckler's good. He knows the system. Herbert trusts him. Everyone on that team is going to get mad numbers this year.
Well, that team's one of my favorite offenses to pick guys up off of. I just look at Eckler. I just think they're gonna. Eckler has asked to get more, get other running backs involved to kind of take the big load off, so that he's not getting the big car crashes all the time. So that's why I look at the fact that I still think he's going to get touchdowns in double digits, but I think he's more like 10 to like 14 as a money, because I do think Isaiah Spiller, I looked at, he's good, and if he's healthy, I think he's going to take some of the hard hits and save Eckler from those. I still think Eckler is going to get 250 to 275 total touches, including receptions. But yeah, I think they're going to take some of the short yardage stuff away from him, just if Spiller shows out. So that one's a big one. So man. Oh, and the other thing, Familia, draft, do mock drafts, do best ball drafts. Peng was on there. He is a best ball just maniac. He's fantastic. Do dynasty startup, do them all. Draft.
Yeah,
Practice.
see what sleepers are there, see where they're going, who you should wait on, what position you should wait on, what comes in your area. It's a nice, it sounds, how do you say it? It sounds nerdy or dumb to do sometimes if you've never done it, but once you do it, it's like, you know what, this makes me feel more confident in going into my draft. Sometimes that's all you need to scare the other guys, is confidence.
Have you done many best ball drafts? I sent you that thing for best ball drafts. Have you tried it out yet?
I have not tried best ball draft yet.
Oh, just do it. It's $5, $3, $5.
Well,
and if you've got any, or actually, if you get, I'll send you another one. But do you still have any piggy bank in DraftKings?
I can.
Okay, because DraftKings, you could do it in there too. So I'm in the middle of a $5 draft right now. So a little slow draft, 8-hour time clock. So do them all, familia. Everybody. So Primo, let's close up shop. Where are they finding you on Twitter?
Ricky Torres TV.
Oh yeah, baby. Definitely, Primo Ricky on Twitter. And, Familia, you got me at Jorge Martin 17. Also, make sure when you go to fantasypoints.com, put in that promo code Familia 22, Familia 22, if you want to do it in Spanish. Get you 10% off that subscription, por favor. And again, make sure you're liking and subscribing us on YouTube or Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Thank you, Anchor, for putting us out there. And also, I've got articles coming out for FamiliaFFB.com. So keep going there, Familia. Otra vez. Thank you to Ricky. We're having some good times. Almost done with the NFL Insider Series. By this time next week, we should have them done. And but keep doing draft. So, and remember, everybody, todos somos familia.
Adios, amigos.
Salud.